Welcome to the deep dive. We take stacks of info articles, research, maybe even your notes, and pull out the real nuggets of knowledge. We're aiming to give you that shortcut to being well informed, maybe with a few surprising facts, and hopefully enough humor to keep you listening. Today, we're doing a deep dive into some, well, pretty fascinating insights on the crypto market. These come from a specific YouTube video. It's called Fast Crypto Trap Incoming: Fresh Buy Zone Opportunities from the Crypto Banter channel. So our mission today, we want to unpack these predictions about market traps, figure out why they might actually be, huge opportunities, and just grasp the bigger picture of this altcoin cycle.
And what's really interesting is how the source doesn't just predict prices. It outlines a whole strategic mindset for getting through these volatile times. It seems especially useful for anyone looking to maybe maximize the gains in what could be a really significant altcoin run.
Okay, so let's unpack that. The video starts out super positive, right? Talking about a phenomenal market, big explosion, bullish momentum. But then, bam, it pivots straight to preparing for a trap. What exactly is this trap they're talking about?
Well, connecting it to the bigger picture, the video actually predicts 3 traps this cycle, similar to previous ones, apparently. This first one, the immediate one, is basically designed to catch late buyers. It happens when everyone gets, incredibly greedy, happy, excited, and they just stop looking out for the risks. A classic shakeout, really.
Right, euphoria sets in. So how do you spot it?
Good question. The expert in the video is pretty explicit. They say they're preparing for a 15% dip at any point. And, importantly, they're already taking some profits off the table from leverage trades, acting before it happens.
Okay, and here's the really interesting part you mentioned. A 15% dip sounds, well, scary to a lot of people. But the video frames it as an opportunity. Why?
Exactly. The prediction is that this specific dip, this next one, is going to trigger the real altcoin pump. It's supposed to be the catalyst, the thing that ignites the catch-up tokens. And it pushes the big tokens towards those, very big levels. That's when the source says true alt season and massive FOMO hits the markets.
FOMO, fear of missing out, powerful stuff.
Definitely. So the core advice from the source is basically have some money to buy when that dip happens. If you're 100% in the market right now, the video suggests you might actually miss the chance to buy the next tokens that are going to break out. Capital management is key.
And this isn't the only trap, right? You said 3.
Correct. This first one sort of gets you in good routine, as the video puts it, for the bigger trap. That one comes later, when we're actually in alt season, and it's predicted to be more like a 30% dip. Comes out of nowhere.
Wow, 30%.
Yeah, those can be really damaging takeaway profits if you're not ready. But, and this is crucial, after these bigger shakeouts, the video suggests the biggest leg to the upside on altcoins we've ever seen will begin. So pain, then significant gain.
Okay, the video also mentions these triggers that release different altcoins into their runs. Can you elaborate on that? What triggers what?
Yeah, it's this fascinating idea of a shakeout, a big dip preceding a huge run. They give an example. Before the current pump, Bitcoin dropped to sub $20,000. And according to them, that dip specifically triggered the XRP to run, the ETH to run. So these sharp drops, they're seen as the necessary events that trigger the next set of altcoins to finally break out.
Okay, so where are we now in that sequence?
Well, the source says the market's currently releasing ETH and some of the large caps. They've had their initial runs. But importantly, some of the large caps still have to pump. And they specifically mentioned Solana as an example of one still waiting for its big move.
So the takeaway is we're getting close to peak alt season, but not quite there yet.
Exactly. We're approaching all-time highs, and true alt season is about to begin. That's the message. The video really stresses focusing on the next 6 months, saying it can be life-changing, urging people to, just focus on being financially free.
Strong words.
Very. And I argue many altcoins haven't even begun yet. They're just sitting at resistances, waiting for that trigger, that dump or shakeout to let them go. The promise is huge gains, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of percents once they're released.
Okay, this framework the video uses, A, B, C, D phases, sounds useful. Can you walk us through that? How does it help?
Right. It's a way to categorize where an altcoin might be in its journey. So phase A, that's the bottom, the accumulation zone. Phase B is the next stage, breaking out, moving towards those all-time highs. Phase C is when it actually breaks into new all-time highs and keeps running.
Yeah.
And then D is the blow-off top, the crazy parabolic peak that usually doesn't last.
Got it. A, B, C, D.
Yeah. And it's important, the video notes, not every coin is expected to hit phase D. The blue chips in categories, your established projects, are more likely to. But the rest of the altcoins can easily get to C phase, B and C phase.
So the strategy is?
The strategy is to look at what is quality in A and B phase right now. Accumulate those, because they're expected to speed up ridiculously when they hit the next phase.
Can you give some examples they used?
Sure. So Cardano is mentioned as a blue chip. They see a good 200-300% coming, probably moving through B or C. XRP, though, is described as already in C phase, so further along. And for an A phase example, they mentioned Superfarm, predicting it will fly to $2.50 once it breaks into B phase. Shows that early stage potential.
Okay, find quality in A and B, prepare for the dip to buy. Makes sense. So what are the specific signals for this immediate trap? What should we be watching?
Okay, the key signal highlighted is that Bitcoin is not bullish right now. It's slowing down.
Which sounds bad.
Well, not necessarily. Because why is it slowing down? The video says it's because money is getting distributed very quickly out of Bitcoin dominance and into altcoins. So altcoins are actually showing strength relative to Bitcoin. But that Bitcoin slowdown itself hints that a shake is coming. A pause.
Okay. Any technicals mentioned?
Yes, crucial detail here. Bitcoin's daily RSI, that's the relative strength index, a momentum tool, is crossing now to the bottom. Usually RSI at the bottom means oversold, ready to bounce up. But crucially, many altcoin RSIs are sitting at the top on the daily.
Meaning overbought.
Exactly, overbought, which signals that a shakeout for those alts is likely coming soon.
And how big a drop are we talking?
Well, the video mentions a potential Bitcoin support zone around $12,000 to $14,000. Wait, no, sorry. That seems way too low based on current context. Let me recheck the outline. Okay, the outline mentions $12K, $14K, but that must be a typo or misinterpretation from the source, as current Bitcoin price is much higher. Let's assume the logic applies at current levels.
Right, focus on the percentage drop.
Yes. A 6, 7, 8% drop in Bitcoin could easily translate to a 10, 15, sometimes a 20% drop in your altcoins. And it's expected to be fast. Pretty quick, catching people off guard.
Okay, quick and sharp. What happens after? Just V-shaped recovery.
Not necessarily a V-shape. The video anticipates more of a double bottom or a W pattern. So you get the drop, then a short-term bounce, then a second bounce, a retest of the low.
Why the retest?
That allows the RSI, the momentum indicator, to properly get down to the bottom, get reset, build a solid base. And after that successful retest, the prediction gets really bullish. Bitcoin starts hunting down the $150,000 to $180,000 mark, taking an entire crew of altcoins with it.
Wow, okay, big numbers. So let's bring it back to the listener. What does this mean for us? Do we sell everything now? Panic.
No, definitely not panic. The video is very clear on this. It asks rhetorically, is this any reason to sell my long-term bags? No.
Bags meaning long-term holdings.
Right. Is it any reason to sell good spot entries? No. Spot means you own the actual coin, not leverage. The focus for action, for potential selling or profit-taking now, is specifically on your leverage or your short-term trading portfolios.
The riskier plays.
Exactly. The advice is, if you've grown some money on those trades, consider taking some profit. Why? To restart some trades on a pullback with bigger position sizes. It stresses keeping any cash, having that dry powder for the double-digit red days so you can actually buy stuff. You're acting like a money manager.
And the expert in the video practices what they preach, right? Shares personal examples.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They mentioned growing one account from like $20,000 to $100,000 using leverage. And now they're slowly just start exiting a few of the positions, mentioning trimming some ETH, taking 50% off Solana, some Link. But, and this is key, they distinguish this sharply from their spot and long-term holdings. Those stay for the whole cycle.
So it's active trading management, not abandoning the long-term view.
Precisely. The goal is take some profits, wait for the opportunity, and go again. Bigger, potentially, on the next move up after the dip. Oh, and they also mentioned some resources. Specific exchanges like BTCC, GlobeEX, Bluffin, Bybit, pointing out deals and bonuses, and even a free entire school starting soon for people who sign up via their links.
Okay, useful plugs. Looking ahead then, how does this trap play out for specific big names like ETH, Solana, Cardano? What's their path through this?
Right, the details. So the idea is that while these alts might edge a little bit higher from where they are now, that trap is still incoming before we break the all-time highs. The reasoning. For a real strong breakout, you ideally want the RSI starting low and moving up, showing building strength, not an RSI already sitting at the top, which suggests exhaustion.
Makes sense. More run-up now just means.
The bigger the trap, exactly. So they outline the traps again.
10, 15% drop. Second trap during all season, 30% drop.
That's the ultimate market top.
And for the specific coins.
Okay, for ETH, They see it maybe pushing $3,800, $3,900. Then the dip takes it back to around $3,300 before it properly shifts and moves higher. Solana, SOL, predicted to drop back to the late 160s. Then, after that reset, it starts chasing down $250. Cardano. A bit more uncertain, apparently. Two scenarios. Either it pumps a bit more, then shakes out, or it shakes out from roughly its current level.
Okay, so paths are similar. Maybe a slight push higher, then the dip, then the real move. So wrapping this up, what's the absolute core takeaway for navigating this?
It really comes down to a question for you, the listener. Are you comfortable, are you prepared to take the money off the table from some profits now, knowing that the goal is to position yourself for potentially bigger gains later? The source's mindset is clear. Freeing up cash that I've made now so I can go bigger in size on the next move. And remember that final point. If a coin went up 300%, the pullback will be bigger versus an altcoin that went up 50%. Scale your expectations and your strategy.
Right. So manage risk, prepare for volatility, and see the dips not just as threats, but as calculated opportunities. And that's our deep dive based on the insights from Crypto Banter. We've looked at these strategic traps, how they might actually be launch pads, the market phases, the triggers, and really the critical importance of having a plan and, yeah, having some cash ready to deploy when those buying zones appear.
So the final thought for you is, how are you going to position yourself now, knowing these dips might be coming, knowing the potential upside after? Are you ready to view these traps not as pitfalls, but as springboards?